Yeah, this message, or I want to say your message, is freaking crazy. I just had to start like this. The message that's coming through is, first of all, you're going to know that this is for you within the first few minutes. Okay, let me just anchor in real quick. There's this song that's been replaying in my head and I can't seem to find it. When I find it, I'm going to post it in the comment section of this video. But it's this part specifically where, first of all, you are the base drop for your entire lineage. So we're going to get a clarification and use that as a keyword. You know, when the base drops, you are that for your entire ancestral bloodline. It's like everything has been leading up to that base dropping moment. So there could be something that you're doing that's going to draw dropping. And this is the specific lyrics. He talks about walking on water or these waves, and he says, like my grandfather and my grandfather's grandfather walked these waters before me. Like his grandmother and his grandmother's grandmother walked these waters before me. And I'm seeing it as this terrain that you have been highly acquainted with throughout this lifetime. And I see it as a bunch of thought forms, so reinforced ways of thinking about your life on earth, reinforced ways of feeling about your life on earth, have been the energetic pattern or the architecture that your soul has incarnated into. And you've been seated within the stillness, being able to observe the intricacies and complexities and the patterns. I'm hearing your ability to have this pattern recognition ability is so profound, where you are anchoring in higher levels of awareness into your current there's a word coming up, pretense. Let me use that as a clarification real quick. This message is going completely sideways from how I thought it was going to be, just opening up, but it's all going to make sense. Just give me a moment. Define pretense. So I want to define pretense and then also what it is to be the base drop for your lineage. And then I'm going to share with you this astral travel message that was coming through. You're going to know that this is for you within the first few minutes, okay? Pretense means a false appearance, claim, or excuse used to hide the truth or make something seem different from what it really is. He called under pretense of checking in, but he really wanted information. So I'm seeing this as false appearance, as in something that the lineage hasn't been ready to address. And I'm seeing you run in a direction that all your entire bloodline had kind of run away from. And I'm seeing that being depicted as a mirror to really see yourself. And there's this moment where you've seen yourself and everything else went invisible. Everything else went from visible to invisible, and you were left with just you and source. I'm seeing it as a halo effect that you've had, where you are the embodiment of that halo. It's definitely giving me Earth Angel vibes, the halo effect. Right, let me go ahead and define this. Can you define what it is to be a bass drop for your lineage, like one the bass drops in a song? There's something around your unique frequency. I'm hearing being a pattern disruptor and being shown Uranus energy. So Uranus is a point of destabilization for the bloodlines. So a tower moment that's designed to be a catalyst. It's the reason for the transformation. And it disrupts old pathways so that new pathways that have never been presented before can emerge. You've been able to see the historical timeline of how life on Earth was related to, and you're changing your relationship to the material plane while being immersed inside of it. So I'm seeing like a reprogramming energy. All right, let's go and take a look at base drop. And the message that came through in the astral. So first of all, I saw the death card, and there's 2 death cards in this space. So I'm going to read them both to you. And then we also had the unknown with judgment that came through twice. So one of them is in the Cosmos Oracle message, and the other one is in this deck. And it's also known as a judgment. So judgment is where you're called forth. It's actually where you're summoned into the unknown, and it's something that you're making friends with, actively disrupting your comfort zone. To be a base drop for your lineage means becoming the moment where everything that has been building across generations finally breaks into a completely new frequency. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. I thought this was just going to be one message, and then I've been sitting here for literally a couple hours, like decoding and like decrypting this. Anyway, like the bass drop in a song, there is tension, repetition, and anticipation beforehand. Then suddenly the entire energy changes. Whoa, there's like 5 or 6 different messages that I thought that were separate that are now bleeding into one. So I'm seeing it as many parallels bleed into one. You may be the person in your lineage who interrupts inherited patterns, releases what previous generations carried, and creates a new standard for those who come after you. Your transformation does not only affect your own life, but it sends a ripple backward through the ancestral line and forward into future generations. This feels like, you know, when they say like you throw in a monkey wrench hammer, what's the saying? Like you throw a wrench hammer into the mix. Yeah, you're that. You blindsided. It kind of gives me that energy. And a blind spot can be Neptune energy. And Neptune has this healing aura to it. It talks about the intangible part of the body and our relationship to the non-physical realm. So I'm seeing it as this really strong relationship that you have that releases all distortion. It releases all judgment, because again, it's just you working directly with source. That's what this is. Everything else dissolves from the field where you are just left with the light. Okay. Also, you're the energetic turning point, the moment where the old rhythm can no longer continue in the same way. So let me tell you the first message that came through. Oh my God, I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to slow down really and just be in this time dilation bubble with you. Yet it's kind of, the word is invigorating for some reason. Let me go ahead and see what that is. Define when something's invigorating, because there's so many messages that are I've been collecting that I'm now realizing are all supposed to be deployed or like deposited or injected into this reading, integrated. Invigorating means something that makes you feel more alive, energized, refreshed, or mentally stimulated. So yeah, it's a new burst of energy and inspiration and excitement. There's something invigorating about it because it awakens a part of you that's gone dormant. So I love that. Thank you. Okay, so and this makes so much sense because of the astral message, but we're going to get to that. Let me put that to the side real quick, and let me share with you what should I do first? Okay, so the first thing I saw in the astral realm was the death card, which I've shown you those 2 death archetypes, and the second one is past lives. That's the second death card. So I'm going to read them both to you. Just give me a moment. I want to disclose some things with you first. So yeah, this is past lives. I feel like you're showing up for yourself now in this lifetime in a way that you weren't able to before, where you're transforming your relationship to the material, tangible plane. And that's what Chiron and Taurus is really giving us a glimpse into. It's there until the 17th of September, and then it's going to station for good from the 14th of April, 2027. And this is designed to transform our relationship with the material plane as soul navigating the physical form. So that death is really the release of an old energetic pattern or an identity that the lineage has adopted, and you're transcending that overall archetype. So that could be feeling like a victim, or like power is always elsewhere but never in your hands. And I'm seeing it as you becoming this renowned, there's something around world renown. So it's like a ripple effect that you're actually having through the globe as you anchor into this nodal axis point. And then I saw the Ace of Pentacles, and I'm going to get to that. The Ace of Pentacles, I feel like, is you being seeded into this bloodline, being seeded into this planet, but it's a new era of anchoring into physical reality. And this is going to come with new opportunities, right? New doors of opportunity. I do feel like you are that, also that door, and resources, and this new start of embodiment. But the real message from the entire astral was that you were clearing old thought forms and redirecting your life force away from past cycles and moving that trajectory, or let's say altering that trajectory, into this new identity that you would embrace, into this archetype that you would actually evolve into, that's now becoming visible in the physical realms. So all the invisible work that you've been doing, and oh my God, there's so many messages that are coming through. You know, when I say they're like all here in the field, I was literally saying this to myself as I was walking back from the gym. like not long ago, and I said it's so interesting because it's like all the work you've been doing behind the scenes, all the invisible work that you've been doing when it comes to your mentality, when it comes to your emotional field, when it comes to your energetic, is now translating into the physical, where you're now reaping the rewards or beginning to see that translate into your physical experience. It's now beginning to collapse through space-time and become part of your tangible experience. So let me tell you a quick message. Let me go and find it on my notes. So I had the halo effect of miracles. I'm going to bring that back up because I'm realizing that these are like 3 messages altogether. And the other one was, where was it? It was like a specific saying, or it was a specific quote. I bless the fire that refined me. I said that your bloodline waited centuries for a like you to wake up. So that's what it's giving me, right? That's what it's giving. The halo effect, let me go ahead and read it real quick. So I said, when you strip yourself back from everything, not that you're losing it or manifesting that, but you're stripping everything back into it just being you and the light. So much so that source allows you to reconnect with the ultimate truth, which is, it is all light. And that removes judgment, and it allows you to return to humility in such a way where you become a conduit to channel broader realms of information, higher, broader universal truths instead of just this myopic, limited lens. And you're opening yourself up to vast portions of your potential when it comes to what planet Earth actually has encoded into the field for you to experience that's readily available to you. It definitely feels like the Akashic fields, which is literally the interconnected database that stores a living memory of the past, present, and future simultaneously. So every single possible timeline that is available for you, because reality is not static. It's a continuous summation of infinite quantum paths encoded into your field as a wave of possibility. And you're deciding, I'm just seeing it as you deciding what wave you want to be able to collapse into form, right? What version of reality are you observing and becoming, not yearning for, but what are you anchoring into the here and now? I'm hearing becoming a vibrational match to what already exists within the field. And that allows you to continue becoming a vessel that can flow good fortune into, I'm seeing like your projects or your relationship to many areas of your life. So I'm seeing the higher self bleed into your relationship with family, your relationships, your health and vitality, your abundance, your purpose, your spiritual work. That's literally what this is giving me. So the halo effect, I said, is a halo effect for miracles. That's how your lineage sees you, and also the world sees you. I said the more open and surrendered you become, the further the light around you begins to reach. So again, it's the auric field. It's something that you cannot see directly, but you can see the effects that it has on a person's life. It's very Jupiterian archetype. So from the outside, I said the halo effect may look like somebody who's continuously protected, supported, or met by good fortune. If this isn't how you're being perceived, this is how you're about to be perceived, because I'm seeing things at the edge, like you're at the edge of your local cluster where you're no longer in the, I want to say, bound or earthbound to your previous timelines, and you literally vibrated out of alignment with like the old timeline, and you've already shifted. That's what it is. You're embodying a parallel version of self inside of your local timeline. And so your local timeline is beginning to dismantle around you. So it's very much that everything has to fall apart for it to fall into place moment that's happening. So I said people may not understand why doors keep opening for you, why the right people appear, or setbacks redirect you somewhere better, or why you always seem to have what you need when you need it. They just see miracles, but they don't always see the emptiness, the humility, and the surrender that actually made space for them. And this is this whole clearing that you've been going through. This is how you're really going to know the messages for you. We're going to get into it. I haven't even touched on the astral realm. There's a bunch of other messages that I didn't even think were part of this series I'm hearing. So welcome to your new series, I guess. From the inside though, I said the halo feels much quieter. So this is how you see it. And it's so interesting because we do have wormhole here, which is a shortcut of events. It's where time actually begins to collapse. And you have this time dilation bubble where it's this slow recalibration period. But from the outside, people see you entering into the wormhole or into this period of isolation. And then who you are on the other side of the wormhole is someone unrecognizable. So it's where you disappear and you reappear, literally transformed. And even if this was the other message before I opened this up, it was Even if you're returning back to the same place or the same environment or the same relationships, you are renewed. I'm seeing Pluto with cellular rebirth energy. So on a cellular level, you are literally not the same person. So the way that the dynamics were previously playing out are going to shift, because as you've ascended into a higher order, the quality of those dynamics are going to reflect that, or you're going to outgrow them in resonance. And so it's literally this frequency gap that you're going to see. And it's not distortion. I'm seeing it as its ultimate truth for physical reality mirroring back to you the internal work that you've done, and you're going to start seeing that correspond very I'm seeing progressively. It's something that's very progressive. So yeah, it can feel like trust. Maybe you've had to have this trust fall in this period, and also like you're no longer having to force any kind of outcome because there's something greater that's moving through you, and that's the higher intelligence that you are. You may notice that your field becomes less crowded by fear or judgment or even attachment, and synchronicities become easier to recognize as your guidance feels clearer and life begins responding to you in ways that feel more precise and just deeply personal and protective. It's like you literally have this protective time dilation bubble as you venture through the corridor of infinite potential realities for yourself, and you're in this liminal space between realms. That's what it feels like. So the halo is not necessarily surrounding you from the outside, it's the field that you've created because there's no interference between you and source. Again, everything else has melted away. I'm seeing anything else that were kind of distractions in your peripheral vision are just falling to the wayside as you follow the subterranean depths of your own heart towards this spring oasis. And it's been within you all along. And that's because empty well came up, time to replenish. And it talks about there's nothing left at the bottom of this barren, dry well that you've been in. The waters have run dry, but your soul and your heart is your biggest compass universally to venture through the physical realm in new ways. I'm hearing that feel akin to your being. So something that feels akin to your being. Yeah, the more empty you become as well when it comes to any expectations that the ego may have, the more space that you're making for this light to move through you. And then that light begins touching everything around you. And people feel that when they come into your orbit or something that you've created. So that's like a side message before we even get into the main thing. But let me go ahead and define that. Can you define when something is akin to your being, especially when you're being led somewhere? Let me use that, and then I'm going to get into these messages. I need some water. Ooh, so akin to your being means that something feels deeply aligned with your nature, familiar to your soul, even if it's new to your physical experience. Yeah, especially in this lifetime. When you're being led somewhere, it can describe a path, place, or opportunity that resonates with who you already are becoming. It does not feel forced or foreign. It feels like a natural extension of your identity. So it's very much just the next natural step in the progression of your soul's evolution. That's what it is. It's not a decision that's being made off of fear, or from any kind of pressure, whether that's internally or externally. It just feels like surrendering to your own inevitable evolution. That's where this is. I'm seeing the stellar stream, so you're surrendering to the current of your stellar stream and your cosmic origin point. So you're being led towards something that feels akin to your being, something that reflects your true nature and feels familiar at a soul level. Wow. We're not even getting started on the astral message yet. My gosh. I told Spirit, I was like, right, if I do a message today, please just let it be short. Nah. Okay, so let me open up with this message actually from the Cosmos Magic of the Gathering card. That's what this is, the Magic of the Gathering, the unknown. This baddie comes out, and this was already seated at the top, so it feels like this is the unknown has been awaiting for you to step into it. I'm seeing to make friends with it. The unknown is to be free from fear. We must be comfortable with the unknown, make the unknown a source of wonder, curiosity, and excitement, rather than a source of fear and anxiety. If you can make friends with the unknown, you'll find that you're living in the greatest mystery of all time. And I'm seeing that as that's exactly where the magic lies. If the fear of the unknown has become overwhelming, then breathe. Focus on your breath going in and out. Trust in the ordering principle of the universe, the principle that has created the galaxies and planet. You are part of it. You let go, it will guide you. So there's something that you're having to surrender to. It says, 𝓕𝓕x is the god of mysteries and time. He speaks in whispers, insights, and mystic visions. Super interesting because at the top of this deck, from my gateway of the light activation. You have the third eye. So this is your multi-sensory perception system. It helps you tune into what's existing in the invisible architecture of this realm, what's existing in higher dimensions, which are just layers of reality stacked up upon each other that are just self-organized. So it's many spirit guides and beings, and also visions or glimpses into your destiny before it unfolds. I'm hearing some kind of strong gut feeling, something that you innately desire that is a memory from your future self. That's why you feel so drawn towards this. I'm seeing an invisible string that's been pulling you, or some kind of intangible hand, which is definitely giving me the Neptune energy that has been guiding you towards a very specific trajectory. I just got a notification. So are you still happy in where you are? Was the message that was coming through. It's like a motherly force. Are you still happy where you are? I'm hearing, if not, what needs to change? How can you anchor more happiness? And it feels like an internal relationship that you have with yourself. Now, let me go ahead and break down these messages for you real quick. So death was the first thing that came through, and this is how you're going to know it's for you. Death is, first of all, this hand that's beckoning for you to come and safely learn more. It's a safe corridor of passage. And it also talks about the fall in this card. So there's some type of breath of fresh air that you are to your lineage, and it feels like the soul is finally safe enough to play again. It's a I'm back. I have returned. That's where you are. Now what do you want to do? Now that you see this realm clearly, and you see it, and you're not just looking at it, but you're seeing it through the lens of the soul, third eye. What do you wish to do that you weren't able to do before? Because I'm seeing it as it's safe to play, right? This is the hand, and I'm seeing this as like the past lives energy. What couldn't you do before that you're being invited to do now? Well, past lives is also this one body of consciousness. Your entire lineage is one body of consciousness. So let me read past lives first, and then I'll take a look at the other death. But that's what this is. It's like this unfoldment. This light. I'm seeing this as you. This is you. I'm seeing a culmination point, but yeah, you're the base drop for your lineage. How funny. Okay. Thank you for your patience and cooperation, because I know these messages can hit sideways sometimes. At least that's how I feel. Like, okay, I didn't plan for this. Okay, so past lives card is expansion and awareness. One of the most important lessons learned in the spirit plane is of past lives. It can easily be forgotten on earth, but it's crucial in understanding the journey of the soul. Each life you've lived is representative of a different awareness you have developed within the world. In each of these lives, you have overcome obstacles and learned invaluable lessons that have given you the perspective that you hold today. Understand, this is not your imagination, but rather the distance of a memory, and that you are greater than yourself. In fact, you have had many selves and have many bodies. Each past life you've lived influences the decisions and events of your current life, your fears, your dreams, your wants, your desires. Your past lives are entangled in each choice you make and things that make you who you are. You have pulled this card to draw awareness to this. You are constantly expanding new cycles and beginning and ending all the time. Take this spiritual lesson and let it shift you into the ever-sent soul you wish to be. What a beautiful word. Hold on, let me define that real quick. Ever-sent. Ever-sent soul describes someone whose energy feels naturally bright, uplifting, lively, and almost sparkling. I so get that. I'm seeing like sparkle, sparkle, dazzle, dazzle. It's your time to shine. Their presence may feel light yet powerful, like it bubbles outward and brings joy and movement or freshness into a space. That's exactly what I meant. Like, you are this. You know, this light force? That's how your entire, that's a bass drop. That's so beautiful, right? Then you have the death, which it marks the new beginning in this deck. Oh shoot, I'm just realizing that the page for this had fallen out. So there's something that it could feel like you're retrieving in some way. I don't even know if I have it, to be honest with you. It marks some type of new beginning. Oh, right here. It's right behind the 1616, which is willpower. This is the whisper of the divine is asking you to remember that you're being supported and that your will is your superpower. Determination is the key right now. Even if things feel like they're out of sync, or not in your control. So death in this card is the Fawn, and it talks about new beginnings and second chances. And as you can see, this is a lifeline. So I'm seeing this as you, this incarnation and this awareness that you've anchored, this remembrance that you've come into, is quite literally a lifeline. It's to become more buoyant than the medium or a master. And it's a flotation device. And this awareness becomes that light that illuminates your path forward. So I'm seeing you shining aspects on potential realities that you previously didn't entertain, simply because there was an energy of perspective shift where you saw impossible, and then you split up the word and you realize that it says I'm possible. So there's some type of shift of perspective where you are seeing yourself clearly, and we're going to get to that. In the beginning, there is death, and that's what we often fear, we know so little about. We imagine it as the soundless dark void where there is nothing everywhere. But in this oracle, death marks the start. Perhaps it's here that we can finally see death as not an impending force that we so doom or fear, but rather an escort into our next chapter. It's the end of a cycle and opens the door for a new lifetime to unfold. This reminds me of the reading that I did, and I think it's out of 8 billion. You are the soul that your generation's called forth. I'll link it down below. It's literally kind of about epigenetics. It's about these ancient enzymes that awaken within you, and these are the cells of your ancestors, and their whole evolutionary history of how life has been experienced on Earth is encoded within you. Although it's not the exact same formula, it is the essence of that cellular memory. And you are the one who is becoming aware of what those behaviors were, what those patterns were, and how those memories are encoded within you. So your body remembers in evolutionary history on Earth that the mind hasn't lived in this lifetime. And you're saying, no, it's safe. We are secure. We are stable. We are able to do this time around. You know, we're not experiencing great famine. We're not experiencing great war. We're not experiencing da-da-da-da-da. And this reminds me of, it's kind of like a side note, but there could be past life memories that are surfacing for you. Because the other day, I remember thinking about the Atlantis energy, and when I was 7, the first story that I ever wrote in my diary was of this great wave that came in and wiped out the entire planet. So if you know, you know. I was like pondering that, and I was like, that's so interesting. So this is memory stored within the morphic field that you're able to streamline into each avatar that you download into. So it's how holographic DNA, that's what the morphic field is. And DNA stores memory. So this is celestial memory that exists in the quantum realm, and you encode into your physical avatar, into each carbon-based life form you incarnate into. All right, so if death comes up in a reading, do not be alarmed. Take the hand that guides you as if it belonged to an old friend and grab it tightly. Okay, let me give you a better analogy for that. It's like having a phone, like each iPhone that you get, and then having things uploaded to the cloud. And even when you get a new device, the previous memories or pictures were not something that that body or that device had physically taken, yet from the cloud it was able to restore that data from the previous devices or previous avatars that the soul had incarnated into. Does this make sense, right? So that's my analogy for it. Beginnings can also be restorative, and it's more often than not that we forget to realize the beauty and the infinity of things. So it can represent a grand new beginning, a second chance at living or mastering 2 lives within this lifetime. I'm hearing bringing gifts forth, so it's some kind of restorative new beginning. Then you had Ace of Pentacles. Now, Ace of Pentacles is about your relationship with the material realm, but something that is growing. It could be something that you're seeding into existence. And when I was looking for this deck, the Ace of Swords came out behind it, and I didn't even see it until I spread them out. So there could be clarity that you're gaining in regards to what you're actually wanting to seed into this physical existence as well, because this is like clear communication that you're receiving. I'm hearing even from the other side, like your connection may just be strengthening. This knowing could be strengthening. The Ace of Pentacles in this deck talks about opportunity and prosperity. The sun rises behind the range of the blue mountains, and as your vision focuses, you notice a promising sprout hovering above the dry, vast desert, undoubtedly a mirage. Here you are in human form, barefoot on the hot, broken ground with nothing to your name. Everything in your mind, heart, and soul urges you forward to grab it, possess it, and make it grow. It can be hard to feel, but the seed of something new is there. Give it the space it needs to grow, and it will blossom into something incredible. The sprout is an uplifting card to see in a reading. You're an intuitive person with a clear mind and an honest heart, and you will be able to tackle whatever new work comes your way. Once the opportunity has presented itself, strike the ground and get to work. That's what I mean. And then you had the unknown, which is literally this calling. As we know, judgment is this soul urge that we feel. It's like this magnetic pull that we can't really describe. This reminds you of the reading that I did. I'll link it down below. What was it? It was about birds migrating and 𝓬𝓫, which is this navigations tool. It talks about basically magnetite crystal within the brain and tuning in with the electromagnetic sphere of the earth. So it's the whole connection that you have to Gaia and this vessel being an extension of the earth, and how that magnetic force draws us towards Saturn. I'm hearing experiences encoded and designed for the soul to explore in this realm. And there's something around curiosity around where you're actually being guided right now. Allow yourself to be curious about what you may find on the path. Judgment is a redirection. It's also a reckoning and an awakening. A chilling gust of wind knocks you out of your state of ecstasy. Whatever blooming happiness may have been left over from your recent enlightenment has faded into the unknown. You're unsure of what happens now or what comes next. You don't want to leave where you are, but the time has come for you to move into the unknown again. The unknown symbolizes the exterior forces we encounter in our lives that push us into unfamiliar and sometimes unwanted directions. These unconscious trajectories propel us more often than we realize. The unknown will awaken you before you're ready, and so you must learn to move with it. Yeah, this is what I mean. There is something that you're having to do, even if fear may be present. You can't wait for the absence of fear to do it. This is the moment that you become greater than your mind, you become greater than your body, and you master your relationship with the material plane, because you're fast mastering the relationship that you have with yourself. So it may not be the kind of awakening you would like. Yeah, that was it. There was a message around you can't unsee what it is that you've seen. So you may be going back into the matrix field, right, after moments of introspection, yet you're no longer the same person. The way that you're relating to your life experiences and this entire holographic construct as a whole is completely transformed. I'm seeing it as this, like, new eyes, fresh eyes, literally. I'm hearing eyes that have been rebooted. It's what creeps in on lonely nights and makes you question what is true. This reckoning is meant to test you, but you will come out the other side awakened and invigorated. Of course, invigorated was coming up before, right? So yeah, that's so interesting. What was the other word that I just said? I said something else. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, so there's some kind of clarity that you're going to gain on the path. Like clarity is going to emerge through action. You can't wait to get clear before you act. That's what this is. It just feels like there's something that you're having to trust. Let's go ahead and run through the astral travel notes that I saw. And the first scene was scanning the biofield. So you were having your biofield scanned, and what I saw was energetic parasites that were held within the feet, and you were asking this being what to do, basically how to alchemize them. And they said it was through alchemy of life force, so thought forms that were crystalline, and this happens through, again, thoughts that have been reinforced generationally. So think about 500 generations before you, all thinking and feeling about their life experiences on earth. I'm hearing in a very pessimistic standpoint, or a disconnection from their own divinity. Of course, it's going to lead to themes of disempowerment in the lineage that the soul has incarnated into. And the tool that you have, and I'm hearing the gift that you possess, is being a transduction system. A transduction system is able to transform a lower energy state into a higher energy state. And so there is this energy of you alchemizing all these thought forms that have created this crystalline debris that's polluted the runways of life force being able to flow through you freely as a channel. It's basically crystalline thought forms that have disrupted or distorted or obstructed the way that you see yourself as a divine creator and an extension of the divine. And these crystalline thought forms or parasites would grow through our renewed participation or attention. And the process of clearing this debris and changing the way dramatically that you feel and think about your experiences on earth was going to be necessary to unlock these lanes of this water slide that would be available once this debris was cleared, and that would unlock new tricks that would then become accessible to you. And it's not that they were new, they were readily available for you. It's just that there was a clearing process that would be necessary in order to gain access to these timelines. And so the biofield that was being scanned was to reveal crystalline thought forms and energetic attachments that have been sustained through renewed attention generationally. And the message was to redirect the way that you're thinking, right? Transforming and changing the way that you're thinking about your life experiences, feeling about your life experiences, particularly the way that you're relating to them emotionally, so that old lanes could be cleared and simultaneously opening up new possibilities for yourself. So this is about opening yourself up to vast portions of your potential versus non-conducive ways or counterproductive ways of relating to your relationship with the material plane. So it was essentially all about the limitations that one places upon themselves, because we are all fractals of infinite potential. Whether a fractal of infinite potential chooses to recognize that doesn't negate the fact of what it is and what it's always been and what it always will be. So let me go ahead and get a message for that, and then we'll move on to the next scene. Yes, Stargate Heart. So you're doing this through compassion. This is talking, Stargate Heart essentially talks about where we have held back love, and that's the pain that we carry from lifetime to lifetime. We have created this psychic shield to stop the world from seeing the true us. And I feel like that was the key word that was coming through earlier. Oh, hold on. What was that? That keyword was pretense. So any kind of pretense, right, where we were hiding certain aspects of ourselves, maybe to give us an illusion of safety. And I'm hearing now it's safe enough to play again. Okay, it's safe enough to explore again. That's what I was seeing. So this is vulnerability being your only bridge to connection. That could be opening yourself up to certain realms of experience and trusting your ability to navigate that. And for others, I'm seeing it as also opening yourself up when it comes to art flowing through you. So it could be some kind of creation and people intersecting with the expression of your soul, how your soul creates in the physical realm. There could be different kind of expressions there. Right, let's go and take a look at the second scene. So the second scene was you being an author within this script. And this theme was you living inside of the story that you had written for yourself, and you were able to change the story while inside of the let's say scenario that was playing out. So you could change it in real time. You were able to rewrite the script. The script was essentially being written as you were inside of it. So I said, as you change the way that you were thinking and feeling, your resonance to these stories also transformed. It was a whole reality bubble that was based off of play. Some beings had fallen into nihilism if they didn't have an intention anchoring them into this realm. So we often feel anxiety when we don't know why we're here on planet Earth. We often feel anxiety or disconnection from our own divinity when we kind of question or doubt our potential in this realm. So you were shown that the story could be rewritten from within by changing your thoughts, feelings, or resonance. And the very thing that would keep you anchored in this realm was going to be play and creation, and also knowing what your intention was. The absence of intention can cause us to experience losing the meaning of life. And so it's understanding I'm hearing not subtle force, but the underestimated force of choices, and us being seated in the third dimension provides us with the privilege of experiencing the journey of our choices. And that's what the culmination of our life story ends up becoming. the effect of our life and the current position of our life is the culmination of each cause. So every action has a reaction, and also every non-action also has a reaction to it. Let me pull a message for this scene, being the script and author. You have building blocks. So there could be something that you are building in this system. With yen, I feel like it's something within yourself, though. It feels like something that's being internally built. And that could be the relationship that you have with yourself, because in the astral realm the other night, I said the relationship that you have with yourself is the reason you can attract effortlessly. So the relationship you've built with yourself is the reason that you can attract very easily. This new version of you is no longer seeking externally what has been already created within. This is about you becoming your own source of being seen, of being accepted, of being compassionate, being fulfilled by yourself, so that your reality can now mirror back that wholeness to you. And from that place, you're not going to be attracting from lack or the absence of anything, but instead you're attracting from this self-connection that you've been able to sustain and cultivate and come back to. 28 is about strong foundations and a beautiful work in progress. You have everything you need to cultivate an extraordinary life, and this is a time when your focus needs to be on the foundations you build upon. Your work, your relationships, and your very being are underwritten by your values, ethics, morals, and core beliefs. Are they still true for you? Will they stand the test of time and serve as this solid grounding upon which you construct your life? Now, you are making changes that will affect everything in a positive way. Your destiny is truly a remarkable and beautiful design. So in relationships, that could be you attracting new relationships into your life, and also solidifying the ones that you've already built by building them on foundations of honesty, humility, and clear communication and genuine desire to know one another, moving towards that groundwork for the firm footing to ensure that they can withstand any storm. And it also talks about getting wiser and more powerful. In prosperity, you have everything that you need to turn iron into gold in the alchemical process of creating the prosperous life that you desire. Now is the time to build on the strong foundations that you have already laid for your prosperity. Keep in mind that these building blocks are imbued with the sparkling energy of your intentions. I'm seeing the sparkling energy of your soul. Own your dream and remember that you always have more than enough, and you are always enough. So abundance is ever present. Your creativity is divinely inspired, and the design for your life is taking shape in service to the world. You are meant for success. Super, super beautiful. Now, the next scene was literally on another night in the astral realm, but for one reason or another, I was guided to merge these two together. And I saw a really auspicious symbol, and the symbol was inside of a menu. And I saw the Ace of Pentacles being prominent for the month of June. So June could have been that ace for you, where the slate was being wiped clean, or there was something that was seeded within you. It could be an idea, some kind of project, some type of new beginning in your life, even this inkling of, I'm hearing like a desire, or again, just something like this. Does that make sense? June would have been that for you. I said July was super lucky, and in August, you would follow the third image and understand that you were being led. In this scene, some people were cooking for you, but not what you needed. So you had to walk away not knowing what you were walking towards, but trusting what you were being guided to align yourself with, even if you couldn't see it yet. Gives me an energy of even if you couldn't look at it yet, you were trusting what it is that you were foreseeing. You were not required to negotiate yourself into wanting less. I said that you weren't rushing, but you knew and trusted in a higher power that everything would work out for you. It was very much the law of detachment. And in the end, you decided not to be angry about this. You had to be okay with being perceived a kind of way and trust that timing would tell all. And I said that there was still much more magic to unfold in your story. So that feels like an unfoldment between June, July, and August that's ongoing, even without seeing like the full menu of the dishes or opportunities, or let's say timelines, or what awaits you within these new timelines or realms in the unknown. Literally, it feels like the menu of the unknown. You don't know exactly what that looks like. And it's so funny because you have all these different hands that are weaving these things. You are being guided to walk away from something that was not meant for you, and instead trust the higher unfoldment without feeling like you have to rush or feel angry about this. I'm hearing moment that could have felt disorientating. So this could have been like a sudden upheaval. I feel like that was the judgment, because judgment is the unknown, where it could have been a quiet reckoning of some kind. And in the next scene, there was this dialogue with the universe that was happening. And I said, you knew that you were in a streak. You were collecting messages, streamlining them into your experience to let you know that you were on track. So since walking away from this thing, or since this ending has unfolded, I'm hearing there's a lot of magic that has unveiled itself to you or returned. It could be a lot of synchronicities that you've been receiving, but some kind of dialogue with the universe. I said there was repeated symbols and messages that was showing you were moving in the right direction. Then I saw you returning to an old chapter, but you were completely sovereign. And it was like you had to go back into a chapter to break a cycle that was set up in the past. That literally reminds me of the, I'm going to find it. There's a specific card in here, and it is the fractal nature of this holographic construct. All right, we have timelessness that's flipping here. And Bless also was making its presence known. So that's the Red Sea parting for you. Right, round and round. So I'm going to go ahead and read this after. That's the message for this. And I said you were returning, but with higher levels of awareness, not worried about how you would be perceived, for you were no longer the same, and you were viewing this dynamic through fresh eyes, seeing the opportunity from within the experience to show up for yourself now in a way that you couldn't do back then. So you returned back to an old chapter, but as a different version of yourself. The purpose was not to repeat the cycle, but to meet it with sovereignty, fresh awareness, and the ability to finally show up for yourself. All right, this I'm going to read for you real quick, because that was the message that I was seeing in my mind's eye when I was writing that out. 25 is the spiral quality of events when a lesson isn't fully quite integrated. You can break up a pattern that was created in the past and revisit it from a new perspective. The appearance of this card is a reminder that although it may have appeared that you've gone backwards, the truth is that you're standing at a higher level looking down on your circumstance. You will break something, do something better, or break up a cycle that was set up in the past. So the one that had created the pattern and the one that's inside of the pattern, witnessing it and observing it in the stillness, is not the same version. You actually have a bird's eye view of your initial footprints and can access the wisdom and lessons learned. So you could have been repeating a very similar story, maybe with the same energy, but a different person. And it talks about you calling this in through resonance to follow through with Spirit's perfect plan for your life. If you circle back to an accustomed spot, that's fine. You get to do things again, but only differently this time, since you've learned something of great value since the last time around. It says, remain curious and stay out of the blame game. How will you choose to behave now that you're aware? So again, it's once consciousness becomes aware of itself, it begins to behave very, very differently. So that could be in platonic relationships, it could be in romantic, it could be in business, it could be in family. There is some kind of new, I say again, parallel version of you, higher self, that you've blossomed into in your local timeline. And so the way that the dynamics had been previously, I'm hearing rendering into your experience through your renewed participation and engagement, operating in a certain octave as you've ascended into a higher order, they can no longer sustain the resonance, or they can no longer sustain themselves, because you're no longer reinforcing those same ways of being, okay? There's some kind of anomaly that's happening. You're inputting a new algorithm into the system, and now reality is adapting to that. And that could be disorientating for those around you too, because they know you as a certain version of self. Even if that's a frequency I'm hearing that was self in the past or past lives, there is something that you're doing to break out of some kind of mold. The prosperity message is it can appear that you're finding out familiar signs of essentially being able to see something that you couldn't see before and no longer going round and round. All right. It talks about taking accountability and responsibility and being happy for this is a wonderful spot to be in. You can now see cycles that you wish to exit. Once you figure out that you have the power to stop going round and round, be good to yourself. It's not about blame, but accountability. You can have an abundant life filled with love and prosperity that spirit so wants for you. So there's something you're actually creating in your experience. You're no longer just sleeping and repeating. Becoming conscious of the unconscious means that the unconscious isn't going to guide your life and you'll just call it fate. Becoming conscious of the unconscious is choosing to do something different than your unconscious or your comfort zone would have done. That's what it is. Now, the next scene was all about having what you need when you needed it. So I saw this being traveling back home and they were trying to get a charger. They didn't have much food and it had just turned their solar return. And when they got on the train, they realized that they were about to go on a flight and they had what they needed when they needed. So I said, even while traveling with limited resources and uncertainty, the journey continued to support you. You were being shown what you needed would appear at the moment it was required. Then you were investing into a new era. So in this scene, it was basically about a vintage shop and you were wondering about the price and things were more expensive, but it was like a one-of-a-kind piece of clothing and you felt like it would be an investment into this new era. I said it was energy that would be invested into this version of you. You knew that you would later integrate this into your wardrobe, into your color scheme, or it would just complement the version of self that you were becoming. It's something that your future self would choose to decorate themselves in. So I said the one-of-a-kind clothing represented investing energy into the version of you that's emerging within this new era. So there could be things that you're investing. It could be your life force, ways that you're thinking about yourself that are highly conducive, ways that you're feeling about yourself, something like this. You could, again, this could be tangible things that you're actually investing energy into. And I said, although it was more expensive, its value came from the uniqueness and how intentionally it could be integrated into your evolving identity, personal style, and color scheme. And the analogy that I have for this is it's like buying the first piece of furniture for a home that you haven't fully moved into yet. And the item was not only valuable because of what it was, but because it belonged to the life that you were preparing to inhabit. You were investing ahead of the evidence, where you were choosing something that matched the identity, the energy, and the aesthetic of the version of you that's already emerging. So it feels like you're creating some kind of frequency of yourself before the outer world actually catches up with this. That's the energy that this gives me. So this message is far longer than intended. I'm going to go ahead and get one closing out for you. And it's going to be none other than the Cosmos Oracle deck. So let's go and take a look at this. Whom are you becoming? Tell me about this new era. I'm hearing, what energy are you encompassing? The star. Of course you are. You have the star, so you're going to be seen as someone that's super lucky. That is the halo effect, right? That is the halo effect. And again, this is like a double take energy with past set because it talks about distance between an object, person, or a thing, but some kind of distance is closing. Right? It's like people saw you here and now they're seeing you here with a bunch of things in your reality with the star. And then I'm going to take a look at how the stars are being supported. How are you being supported? You're being supported by the self. So you're being supported by some kind of path that's unfolding before you, like a memory. This is also a layer of protection that you have because, again, this is the plasma membrane, and these are different auric layers of the field. And it talks about controlling what goes in and out. It's a gatekeeper type of energy. So it gives me if certain things or dynamics belong to an old timeline or an old version of you that you're no longer embodying, there is this gatekeeper energy. It gives me okay, this isn't passing the vibe check. It's like the bouncer. That's what it gives me. Like, guides aren't playing about you. You're not playing about you in this era. It feels like access to you is potentially kind of limited. Oh, it reminds me of something. I learned that repeated disrespect is never a misunderstanding. It's a lack of fear about losing you. People who truly value you move differently with your heart in their hands. And the moment I realized some people only apologize to restore access, not to repair damage, everything changed. I started reading inconsistency like a second language. So that could be true. I said a person's habits will always expose the truth their mouth keeps trying to decorate. Some people will look you dead in your soul while bleeding you emotionally and still ask why you changed after. That's the dangerous part about empathy. Toxic people treat it like an unlimited credit line until your spirit goes bankrupt, if you allow it. I learned that repeated disrespect is never a misunderstanding. Yeah, so there's something like that that's coming through. Then we have Star. Now, Star is seen as someone who's very lucky. This is literally that embodiment. A celestial body which shines with its own light. The word star has been used for a long time to refer to someone who's lucky. It's a magical wild card that stands out against everything else and everyone. The star brings light and acts as a guide for all those who accompany it. The star shines with a unique pulse and surrounds the vast night with its enveloping light, leadership, and brilliance, spirituality, and faith. This is a 3-3 portal, so it's about literally accessing new potentials of yourself. I'm hearing that were previously dormant, but now coming to the surface because you're a multidimensional being with many dimensions, not just one, many facets of yourself, not just one. So it's not even like this is something new. This is something that's always been encoded within you that you're now just is now rising up. And I'm hearing meeting and greeting reality. And reality is now meeting and greeting to rise up to meet this version of you. I'm hearing including opportunities encoded into your field. This is the cell. This is the bouncer energy. So the key to success, this is how you're being supported. The cellular membrane surrounds the cell and controls what comes in and out. Be aware of the energy with which we surround ourselves, feed ourselves, and allow to enter into our aura. The cytoplasm is the fluid within our cells where everything happens and is produced. Maintain a sense of fluidity to let things happen. Inside the cell is the nucleus, which contains the DNA, which is the memory. This is this part. Always return to the simplicity of what makes us the important things, the being, the nucleus, the root, the truth that one carries within them, being unique, sacred, and essential. The truth can always be found inside of the nucleus, and the truth is always what sets us free. What's important cannot be seen, but it's still there working for us in full simplicity and humility. So it could be the things how you're being supported is trusting your light, trusting your awareness to illuminate the things that you cannot see. Maybe it's not about what's being said, but what's not being said. Maybe it's not about not what's being done, but the things that aren't being done. It's just definitely giving me omissions type of energy, and your awareness being able to illuminate that. So this is strong protection that you have when it comes to your auric field. And true protection, if anyone wants to know, is just awareness. Just having that awareness, that quiet awareness, not awareness that needs to scream out of the rooftops. It's a really quiet discernment. That's what it is. See, discernment acts as an energetic barrier so that you can tune into not just what's happening within your own field, but also within the inner realms and more of the subtle layers of somebody's inner architecture or emotional landscape. And so this gives me field literacy, being able to read another being's field and, understanding that's fluid, that's susceptible to change over time, but there could be something about boundaries, and that's how you're being protected with this light and this halo effect. So with that being said, I'm going to love and leave you right there. I'm going to trust that this message is going to meet you exactly when it needs to. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. We'd love to have you around. Personal reading details are also down below. Also, check out OTTER if you're looking for some high quality AAA grade gemstones. And until next time, my love, bye. How does this correspond to your own evolution as well? Let me know in the comment section. I'd be really interested to hear. Oh, by the way, as we close out this message, it's literally 4:44 on the clock. So again, heavy, heavy, heavy protection that you have. Heavy awareness that you've been able to come back to and cultivate. That awareness becomes your compass. And I'm hearing the path that illuminates what always has been. You and Source.